All right, y'all. So here we go. May the 4th be with you today. May 4th, y'all. May 4th. Hope y'all doing well. Here we go. So today, starter, go ahead and begin the starter, please. This is going to help me understand the quality of your work from yesterday. Did you do that work? Did you do that work well? Okay, so everybody go to the starter, please. Which of the following is true based on 138 China Nanking document A? A good hashtag for paragraph 1 could be China started it. Soldiers should be highlighted green. Oh, I like this starter, y'all. Japan and China should be highlighted blue. There are 3 paragraphs. Which of those is true? If it's more than one, please select more than one. Question 2, which of the following is true based on 139 China Nanking document B? 300,000 should be highlighted blue. A good hashtag for paragraph 1 could be cruel Japan. Third one, mass execution should be highlighted orange. And there are 2 paragraphs. And then question 3, which of the following is true based on 140 China Nanking sourcing the textbook? Document A is written from the Japanese point of view. Both documents are biased. Document B is written from the Chinese point of view. Please answer that now. I will give you a couple minutes to do so. Give y'all one more minute. All right, y'all, we got to move on because if you did your work well yesterday, you should be able to complete that no problem. Okay. You should have your hashtags done. You should have everything highlighted. If you don't, it'll take you probably a little bit longer. Okay. And your rate of success will be much smaller. So let's move on. Summary today. We're going to continue to analyze the events in Nanking, China. North Carolina Standard Court Studies summarized the literal meaning of historical documents in order to establish context. We looked at 2 sources yesterday, and we're going to look at 1 source today, okay? Unit is Asia, Statement of Inquiry, Governance throughout time and place impacts expression. Okay, synchronous work starter, which you just did. We're going to begin and complete 140, China Nanking document C. And then we're going to begin 141, China Nanking corroborate. Okay, and then we'll do the ticket out the door. That'll be the last thing. Your asynchronous work is to complete 141, China Nanking corroborate. So let's say you get to the ticket out the door. You need to answer that ticket out the door question based on this summary page. Okay. So I know some people at the end of class yesterday said, hey, for asynchronous work, make sure you have 138, 139, and 140 done. So that's what you clicked on. But the official asynchronous work was only to complete 140 because she should have had 138 and 139 done. Okay. So anyways, let's move on here. Everybody, please go to page 141, please. 141, go. Before we move forward, let's go back. Actually, let's go to 138. Okay, this is what we did yesterday, y'all. This is what we did yesterday. I just want to review this. We got these two documents, both talking about the same exact event in Nanking, China. Both of them. They're talking about the same exact thing, but they are very different in the way they describe this event. They're extremely different because there are two groups that are involved. You have Japan and China involved. One of these comes from a Chinese textbook. One of them comes from a Japanese textbook. So you're going to see that and hopefully learn and identify that you have to think really hard about what sources you believe and form your opinions based on what sources. Okay, here you got a textbook. You may think, oh, textbooks are always true. Textbooks are always right. Not always the case. Okay, and we had some good discussion with one of my blogs yesterday. What about American textbooks? Like, what are they not telling the whole truth on? Okay. And that brought up some good discussions on some different historical events. But nonetheless, we got document A and then we got document B. Document A was all about, okay, 2 Japanese soldiers were killed in Shanghai. Like the Chinese did that to them. And then Japan went and just kind of took the capital city from them. And there are a lot of, and then right here, right, this asterisk right here. Documentary evidence has raised doubts about the actual number of victims claimed by the incident. So we got that source 1 or source A. Then we got source B. They call it a massacre from the beginning. They say that Japan came, took Nanking, prisoners of war, killing them, mass execution, burning, burying them alive, beheading them, being bitten by dogs, was one of the most horrible events in world history. We identified that that is not Japan writing that event about how terrible they were during this event. We identified that that was the Chinese textbook, and the first one is the Japanese textbook. Okay, all right. We did that through this sourcing. Okay, like why is document B the Chinese one? Well, because they were talking from their point of view. Okay, talking about the atrocities and the terrible things that Japan did to them. And here we identified that document A was the Japanese textbook because it kind of said, hey, there's debate on what happened. There's debate on how bad it was, and China started it because they killed 2 Japanese soldiers. So we kind of identified that. And then maybe you agree, maybe you found one of them more trustworthy, or maybe you didn't find either of them trustworthy. Okay. All right. So here we go. 141. Okay, here's what I want you to do here. Close read this text, please. Close read this text. This is from historian Jonathan Spence. And if you look, this is an excerpt from Jonathan Spence's book, The Search for Modern China, published in 1999. Spence specialized in Chinese history and taught at Yale University from 1993 to 2008. So here's what I want you to do. Go ahead and just read that one paragraph, number the paragraph, reread it and highlight, and then give me a hashtag, please. Go ahead and do that now. Go. would y'all please let me know when you're done? Let me know when you're done. Close reading 141, please. All right, y'all. At this point, you should be done or very close to done to close read this document. But here's what I want you to do now, everybody. We can even work on some of this together. Let's scroll down and let's fill in these 4 boxes here. What type of a document is this? And y'all in the classroom can share out loud. Y'all at home can put it in the chat if you'd like. But what kind of document is this? What do you got? Yeah, maybe kind of like an article. Okay. But if you look at the source, though. Look at the source in the bottom of the thing. What? Come on, y'all, help me out in the classroom. Say it again. Well, an excerpt means it's a part of something. It's a part of what? This is part of what? A book, y'all. All right. This is a book by a historian, almost like maybe it'd be almost like a textbook in a way, a little bit, focusing on Chinese history. All right. Now, what's the purpose of this type of a document? If Jonathan Spence, a historian, writes this book, what's the purpose? What is he trying to do? Yep. Inform. He's trying to inform and educate. He's just trying to share what he knows about Chinese history. Okay, so here we go. We got a book. I'm going to say book by a historian. Okay, I'm going to go the extra step here. Book by a historian. He's trying to inform or educate, right? He's very knowledgeable on this topic. I mean, he's a professor at Yale for 15 years, probably teaching about Chinese history specifically. Okay, so do you think this document, this book, is reliable? Do you think this is reliable? What do y'all think? Let's go. Let's get some responses. What do y'all think? Yeah, I think this is gonna be fairly reliable. Okay. Why or why not? Why do we think this is probably reliable? Y'all, let's put some stuff in the chat too. Put some stuff in the chat. Let's see what y'all at home think as well. Okay. Why is this source reliable? Yeah. Okay, it's reliable. He is very experienced, knowledgeable, has, okay, my goodness. How y'all spell knowledgeable? All right, knowledgeable, a great resume, professor from Yale. Okay. Now here's the thing. Once you lose that credibility, like you're fired, right? If he's lying about some of this stuff, no one's gonna hire him again, especially Yale. Okay. You're gonna be out on your own because all you have as a historian is your trust, your honesty. Okay. And so you need to make sure that you don't lose that. Same as a journalist. If you lie about an incident, you're done, right? You lose that credibility. Okay. Why else do you think is he? What point of view does he have? Is he have a biased or neutral point of view? What do y'all think of this event in Nanking, China? Does he have a biased or neutral point of view? Y'all put some stuff in the chat too, please. Biased or neutral? Not what is his opinion. What's his point of view? Is he Chinese? Well, I mean, it doesn't say, right? But we can maybe assume here. Is he Japanese? Probably not. So he's writing from a neutral point of view, not the Chinese or Japanese view. Okay. All right. All right. Let's continue on here. We need to go to one. I'll give you 30 seconds. 30 seconds. Get caught up. All right, y'all. So let's go here to 142. 142. Okay, before we begin this. All right, corroborate. Let me explain corroborate with the true story here. Let me explain corroborate with the true story. So corroborate is when you find a document, a source that agrees or kind of like proves one of those other sources to be true, right? So let's say, for example, you start smelling something in the room, okay? Because somebody to be named later, somebody farted, okay? So somebody farts in the room, okay? And nobody knows who it was, obviously, except for the person that did it, okay? Or maybe somebody nearby that maybe heard it, okay? So those are the options. But here's the deal. So somebody to be named later farts, okay? And then they blame it on somebody else, okay, to be named later. Okay, true story though, true story. So this happens, and both of them deny it. Both of them say, no, it wasn't me, it was her, to be named later. No, she's like, no, it was him, to be named later. Okay. And so they are both denying it, saying the other person did it. They're both extremely biased, right? They're biased because they're involved. They don't want to. So anyways, so what you have to do in order to determine who farted, you've got to corroborate the story. You got to find somebody who's neutral to say, hey, who was it? I know you heard it too. So you talked to somebody else that was nearby who heard it, okay, and smelled it as well. And you got to go to somebody else to say, hey, who was it? And then from that, you got to make sure they're neutral though, because if they're person A's best friend, maybe they're going to take their side, or person B's best friend, or maybe they don't care, think it's funny anyways. Okay, but you got to make sure they are neutral, okay, in the situation. And you could talk to them and say, hey, who was it? Because you got to corroborate, you got to find an agreeing source to determine who did it. So eventually you find out that it was the young man who did it, okay, because somebody nearby corroborated and they say, hey, Mr. George, it was him, okay? And then from there, you're able to determine the facts of the situation because you corroborated it based on a maybe more reliable source at that time. All right, so keep that in mind. That's what it means to corroborate. So now, with that being said, we got to corroborate this story of Nanking, China. Okay, we got to corroborate this story so we can identify what really happened. Is it like all of what the Japanese textbook said? Is it part of what the Japanese textbook said? Is it all of what the Chinese textbook said? Or, okay, is it all of what the Chinese textbook said, or just part of it, or none of it? Like, what if we take this third source? Let's try and corroborate it here. So here's what I want y'all to do. List 2 ways, okay, that Spence's account compares or contrasts with the Japanese textbook. Look at 41. How does it agree or disagree with the Japanese point of view? Okay, what do they have that's in common and that is different? And then you're going to do the same thing. List 2 ways that Spence's account compares, is similar, or contrasts different with the Chinese textbook. What is the same and what is different? Okay. And then answer those last 2 questions. And you're going to do this during asynchronous time. Okay. Why might textbooks from different countries, okay, why might textbooks from different countries offer different versions of the same historical events? And when confronted with conflicting historical accounts, different historical accounts, what is the best way to determine which is more accurate or more trustworthy? Okay, so you need to do that on your own right now for asynchronous work. What are the similarities and differences between the Japanese textbook and Jonathan Spence's excerpt from his book? And what are similar and what is similar and different from his textbook with the Chinese textbook? And then why might textbooks from different countries have different versions of the same event? And then when you get 2 different stories, how do you determine what is more accurate or trustworthy? Go ahead and do that now. Actually, let's do this. Go ahead, take it out the door. Take it out the door, please. All right. All right, so at this point, y'all should be done with the ticket out the door, please. Y'all should be done with the ticket out the door. Okay, and then your asynchronous work again is to complete that organizer on page 142. Corroborate the story, please, of the incident, the event in Nanking, China. Okay, all right, so make sure that you do the objective, unit, statement of inquiry, and then the asynchronous work, please. All right, thank you.